We'll call the meeting to order at 7:30 p.m. First item on the agenda this evening is 106 Cooper Road, application for a residential site development of the parcel. I see the applicants here. John Paul, anyone else here with you, or?
Well, Sarah Taffel, who's the owner of the property, is also here.
Yeah,
for the record, John Paul Garcia. This is a site that we looked at on a preliminary basis about a year and change ago, and we had numerous site walks and discussions about it. We've had the wetlands flagged a couple of times. We're now making a formal application for site development plan. Included in the plan, which is essentially the plan that I presented to the commission about a year and a half ago. The only thing that's changed a little bit is that we've included a small generator pad in the deck, which is when Terry Gilbertson was the enforcement officer, asked that be included because that seems to be an up and coming thing. We have submitted to Quinnipiac Valley Health Department for review and approval. And so this is now a formal application going forward. And you're receiving it tonight. So I guess you're gonna ship it off to your engineer, or you're gonna review it in-house. I don't know how you're gonna handle it.
Yeah, I think on this one, we'll send it off to Chris Crowell's agency. So the only change from what we've seen before is the deck and the generator pad then?
Yeah, when we had come in last time, one of the things that Terry had asked is that we should include a modest deck, and it seems that everybody in the tri-state area is now building generators on their houses, so you might want to show a small generator pad someplace. And so it doesn't encroach any more than what we originally had, but we now show that just as a matter of course.
Wasn't the footprint before 2,400 feet, if I recall?
It was a little bigger, and I think this one is a little smaller. But if you want,
I know there was an issue before.
Let me see.
I know there was an issue. I know there was an issue at one point as to whether certain area of the property was really wetlands or was wetter than people thought.
Well, that we have because...
Right.
Dirty scale. Where's my scale? The original house that we showed you guys was an 80 by 40, was 3,200 square feet, and the house I presently am showing you is, wait me for a second. It's essentially the same house.
Yeah, 30.
All we did was add the deck. All we did was add the deck and the generator pad.
Okay. And the garages were underneath, as I recall, right?
Right side, yes. The
Yep.
garage is on the right. And that could be flipped if we had to, but there didn't seem to be any. Again, the development area that we're showing here is essentially the same one that we had talked about when we first submitted. But I can flip that if the commission so desires. That's not a big deal. That's not a big deal at all.
How does everyone feel about, we need to go back out there and take a look, or do you remember what it looked like we were there last time, or?
I remember pretty clearly.
Yeah, I don't need to go out there.
Okay.
I think there's the need to go out again either. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll send the plans off to Jim to take a look at, and we'll continue this till next month then, unless anybody else have any other questions first, though.
Quinnipiac has not seen this yet, or still has.
They haven't. They just haven't acted on it yet.
Okay. But it hasn't been approved by them yet, right?
No, it hasn't, but we've done the soils testing. The soil testing was acceptable. We have a septic system designed, which is included as part of your package. And so now we're waiting for QVHC to act on it.
Anyone else have any questions of John Paul?
Good.
I looked at the plan.
I mean, we have seen it before, so. Anyway, all right, then if no one else has any other questions, we'll send it off to Jim for review. Have continue the matter until next month, and we'll move on.
I actually do. I just thought of a question that
Go ahead, Josh.
the septic system is way uphill from the house. Am I right?
Yeah, it's gonna be pumped up to the left. It gets it far enough away from the wetlands. Yes.
Yeah. No. I understand. I'm just saying so that if you don't have electricity to run the pump, you can't get the water up to the septic fields, right?
If you don't have electricity to run the pump, you don't have water.
That's a good
Well,
point.
it's septic.
Ignore me. I hadn't thought it through.
But you're gonna have, that's why we put the generator pad in, because everybody's putting generators in. So they may
Wow.
very well have a generator which would run both.
Yes, absolutely.
But if they don't, you lose water, you lose septic.
Yep.
Got it.
Okay, anyone else have any questions?
Limited disturbance. All right, so the driveway's coming off that common driveway now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. The trees will be cleared where the house pad is and the limited disturbance.
And we could bring that in a little bit if we had to, but we just show it. It seems to.
Nope, I don't have anything else at this time.
Everyone else all set?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, and we'll continue this till next month then.
Thank you very much, everybody, and have a happy and safe Thanksgiving.
You
Two.
Thank you. Okay, moving right along. 24 Center Road is application for residential site development of the property. Brian, do you want to just start? I know we've gotten comments from Jim. Engineers went back and forth on a couple things, and then I think everybody's on the same page at this point. Is that correct, Chris?
Yes. The comments that were received were sent to Brian and the applicants, and they responded. I sent those back to Jim, and Jim sent us an email indicating that everything had been addressed. He did request an amount for a bond, which Brian provided. I sent that to Jim, and Jim has said that the bond amount that Brian had provided was acceptable to him. So to the best of my knowledge, all of Jim Preedy's comments have been addressed.
Okay, does anyone on the agency have any questions?
I'm good.
I have any. Yeah.
We should also note that I did forward to all of you on email that was received, as well as a hard copy, and which I also forwarded to the applicants from the abutting neighbor, Mr. Root. So you've all had that in your packets too. So just noting for the record that that was submitted and that was provided to you.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
I think I asked it before, but I'm going to ask it again. The back of the house, which faces the wetlands, how is that? What's there now? Is that wooded or is that and is there going to be?
I think I can answer that. Brian Asteriak, the engineer and surveyor for the job. It's all wooded. It's pretty much undisturbed land. I did add a limited disturbance, like you requested, on the map, which also basically follows the limited clearing and the silt fence that we're proposing. The only expectation or proposal is to turn that into a vegetated area between the house and that limited clearing line, which is about, I don't know, 25 feet, maybe less, off of the back of the house. Originally, the owners wanted to put a deck off the back of it, and they decided to modify that. So they only have basically a 4-foot walkway to get the deck on the side of the house. So they did decide to reduce the impact just because the wetlands ended up being a lot larger than any of us expected. But there's no other plans other than just clearing as much as we need to put the house up and then vegetating it after we're done.
Is that detailed on the plan, any on one of the sheets?
All of that is detailed, but anything, what do you mean specifically?
The vegetation and that
There are notes that basically say anything that is disturbed shall be vegetated with a specific seed mix, which is just a standard grass seed mix, which would be appropriate 20 feet from the house. So that is a general note on the plans. I'll point that out to you if you want. There's nothing else proposed between there. Any other questions?
None from me. Anybody else have anything?
Note 9. Yeah, no, it's there.
Yeah, note 9, I see it.
Yeah, and it's a fairly large lot with a reasonable development, so I think you've done a fairly decent job of placing the house and protecting the surprise wetlands in the back there.
We tried.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any other questions? As Chris mentioned, there's a bond calculation on this, so to the extent that we can approve it tonight, the computation's already been reviewed by the engineers. So if we have a motion to approve with the usual stipulations and the bond as approved by the engineers and submitted and approved by the engineers, I don't know, do everyone wants to make a motion?
One other question.
Sure, go ahead.
Do we have the approval from Quinnipiac yet?
No, I did get response. They wanted a couple of changes, mainly notes. We sent those back, and then I got an email, an automated email saying that Alexis at Quinnipiac will be out of the office for another 12 days. I think she may be quarantining, although she did respond to me. So we responded. We gave her an updated plan. They were very minor comments, but I just don't know when we're going to get that approval if she's going to be quarantined and out of the office for a while.
Do we need to put that in as a stipulation in the?
Yeah, I think that's reasonable, you know.
Okay.
To the extent that whatever Quinnipiac comes back with is a major change, then they'd have to come back here anyway. So I think I think we can make that a stipulation of the approval.
Okay, that would be good.
Yeah, no sense in wasting another month on this. So.
No.
Anybody else have any questions? Otherwise, we'll see if there's a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve with the stipulations.
And,
Second.
And Josh, okay, Jack moved, Josh seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any objections? Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess 4-0, Chris.
No, you've got Barry's there too.
Oh yeah, Barry. Yeah, okay. Gene. Let's see how many do we have here? 1, 2, 3.
You've got your full members.
5. Yeah, we're full complement. Okay, so approved 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Have a
thank
good
you.
holiday.
Yeah, you too. Take care. All right. Next item on the agenda, 15 and 21 Wolf Tree Drive. See Attorney Pellegrino has appeared again.
Thank you.
Where do we stand with this at this point?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. For the record, Bernard Pellegrino, and I'm an attorney with the Pellegrino Law Firm in New Haven. I represent Mr. Esposito, who is on via his telephone. And for those of you who may not have been here in October, we appeared relative to the cease and desist order. After the storm, Mr. Esposito had done some clearing in the back of these properties, and there was a question whether that clearing may have been into the wetlands. He immediately retained David Lord, who is also with us, and you'll hear from him in a moment, I hope. He was on the screen, but he disappeared, so hopefully he'll be back on. David will fill you in, but he has identified the wetlands, mapped out the wetlands, and is working on a report that it would include a restoration plan. Hasn't quite completed it yet, but I wanted him to at least update you on where we are in the process. So if he can come back on, I hope, maybe he can do that at this point.
He's here. I just don't see him.
He is here, but there's a little yellow thing up in the corner of his picture on the screen.
Due to low bandwidth or local computer condition,
Low bandwidth.
video is not currently available.
Okay.
I'm learning all this great stuff about this program.
The perils
Can you
of,
hear us?
I said the perils of meeting virtually never cease to amaze me, but maybe I can paraphrase, because I did spend some time on the phone with Mr. Lord this afternoon, updating Dan and myself. So if he is able to rejoin us, he'll take over. But essentially what I can tell you is, can I share my screen, Chris?
I can pass it to you, yes. Hang on a sec.
As long as I bring up the right screen, maybe that'll be a start here and I can show you something.
You should be able to now.
Okay.
Here it goes.
Okay. So well, if I can scroll that down, can you guys see the whole thing or just half of it?
Half.
Okay. Oh, there you go. Better? Okay. So David went out and did 4 test holes, which he shows numbered on the plan. And based on that, has delineated the wetlands. A good portion of that area and some of the upland has been cleared. So he has confirmed that there has been clearing in the wetlands, and there has been some topsoil placed in the wetland area. So that's number 1. I'm going to take that down unless anyone would like me to keep it up for now.
Okay with me. Take it down.
Okay. Great. Looks like it's still incommunicado. So what David,
Bernie, not to interrupt, but I texted David and he said he doesn't have any audio.
okay. All right, well, I'm going to keep going then. I'll act as the voice for this, for him. Is he, Chris, can you unmute him or does he have to do that himself?
Tim a request, so I'm showing that he's unmuted.
That's the symbol, connected to audio,
Okay,
but nothing.
all right. So I'll keep going then. David has looked at the area and has begun drafting a restoration plan. He is of the opinion that starting any of this work right now, given the weather, is probably not ideal. I think he's looking at it as more of a spring plan, although there may be some components when the plan is finalized that may be able to happen sooner rather than later. So he's put together sequencing. He hasn't finalized the plan. He thought, Chris, that perhaps between now and your December meeting, that he could meet you in the field and go over his thoughts, get some input from you, and then we could have the plan for the rest of you at your December meeting.
That would be fine. I'm available whenever he would like to meet with me.
Okay. So that's our update. I'm happy to answer any questions if any of you have any.
Hey, Chris?
Yes.
I haven't been way in the back there. I just looked at it from the street. Would it make sense, though, at some point before the winter to, if we can't, and I can understand why it wouldn't make sense to do a lot of work before, until the spring on some of this, but would it make sense, though, to get silt fencing along the back there so that during the course of the winter, there's no runoff into the wetlands from the disturbed area there?
It makes logical sense. I'm sure Dave,
You could talk to him
talk about that out in the field. The weather forecast that I've seen projected for the winter shows some storms, but also ice storms, which to me would mean rain. And that's the worst case scenario that we seem to get in the winter for erosion. So I'm sure that's something that Dave and I can talk about when we're out there in the field, certainly.
Okay, good. Yeah, thanks.
Mr. Chair, on the sequencing plan, the draft sequencing plan that I've seen, silt fencing is number one on the list after a pre-construction meeting. So we can follow up with him and maybe get some of that going as soon as possible. Is it possible to do that even before we get an approval, or can we do that with your approval, Chris?
I believe that we could, because you do have to properly put in the silt fence. You need to dig it in, so you'd want to do that while the ground was amenable to having the silt fence installed. So, I mean, if Dave wants to meet sooner rather than later, we certainly can do that to get that part of it moved along.
Okay. Other questions that you have of us? Okay. Well, we appreciate having the opportunity to be before you, and we'll be back to you. You meet in December? Is that
December 21st is our next regular meeting, yes.
okay. So you'll keep us on the agenda, I assume, and hopefully between now and then, I will talk to David, and I'll have him call you, Chris, and he and Dan can set that meeting up with you, and we'll get going.
That would be fine.
Thank you very much for the cooperation.
You're welcome. See you all soon.
Thank you.
Have a
Okay.
good Thanksgiving.
All right, moving right along. Next item on the agenda, we have any correspondence or anything we need to talk about, Chris?
No, outside of the letter that had 424 Center, that was it.
Okay. As far as enforcement officer report, anything going on we need to know about?
Not that I know of. We have some houses going up, but they're not necessarily outside of 24 Center got any wetlands involved. There's a new one going up on Peck, but it's one of the few ones that doesn't have any wetlands in the Arnold Peck subdivision.
Okay. All right, no specific site visits need to be scheduled, but if anyone's curious or wants to refresh their recollection on 106 Seymour, they can just drive by there. The minutes, next down on the agenda is approval of the October minutes. Let me get those. Anybody have any comments or corrections on the minutes? Gene, you're always good for a careful reading.
I'm not sure I've actually seen them because I'm traveling, so I can't
Oh,
comment.
okay, yeah, all right. That's true.
I looked, I didn't see anything. but-
Yeah, I didn't have any.
Either.
I'm not good at it, but I didn't find anything either.
Yes, you are, Josh. All right, and if that's the case, do we have a motion to approve the October minutes?
Yeah, I'll make a yeah, go ahead.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it. All right.
Okay, so Barry, you seconded, is that it?
Sure.
Okay, and Jack, you moved? I lost track of who was talking there.
I think somebody beat me to it.
David beat him to it.
Oh, okay.
Right.
All right, Dave, you win. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, okay. That takes care of that. Chris, do we have anything else we need to talk about?
Nope. I think we're good.
Okay, did a great job with the WebEx today. All right, then I guess we need, if there's, anybody else have anything else they want to talk about?
One thing, there was going to be a question about finding the other Josh.
Josh left.
Yeah, I emailed him. I haven't heard back from him.
Okay.
That's interesting. It's just, I mean, he used to walk. I would see him walking dogs on Nettleton Drive, where I live, occasionally, but I haven't seen him in a couple of months.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll get a response sometime soon, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, anybody else have anything?
Not me.
Okay, hearing nothing. Do we have a motion to adjourn? It's 7:57.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting. This is
Okay.
Jack.
Second?
Who seconded?
Nobody yet.
I'll
Anybody?
second it.
Oh, Dave, okay. Okay, I don't know. Dave and Barry have been battling for motions. Okay, Dave seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? We're done at 7:58. Thank you, everyone. See you next month.
See you next month.
Thanksgiving, guys. Be safe.